Hello and welcome to another episode of A Ghost in the Magazine. I'm Steph.
And I'm Elle.
And I'm Mel.
I'm Al.
I have a collection. And this is the fourth episode, 31 Days of Horror. We getting tired, but we're here.
We're here.
I'm so proud of you all for making it here. And hopefully some other people have made it with us. But what some of these movies are doozers. I'm also looking forward to having a very interesting conversation about one of the movies today. But before we get to that movie, let's do rankings from worst to best. Who volunteers as tribute?
Well, I definitely volunteer the worst. I mean, Mother's Day was horrible. It was bad.
Oh
Yes.
my god.
I mean, okay, I thought so. I assumed everyone would agree with at least which one was the worst.
I mean, I put Silent Madness as the worst just because I hate the way that it treats people with mental illness in general, but
Valid.
I think Mother's Day, I mean, Silent Madness is of its time too, so arguably Mother's Day is worse.
The best?
The best.
Haunted Asylum.
Yeah, I might be biased. I'm biased. Mel.
I like
what is your
found
best?
footage. I don't know what's wrong with me.
There's nothing wrong with you. To each their own.
I like found footage too. I'm gonna have to go with Cursed on this, but
Yes!
It was close, yeah. That, Demons, and the Haunted Asylum were the three that I liked. I didn't hate Monkey Shines. I thought it was
neither.
goofy.
I couldn't watch it.
It kept crashing.
I got 45 minutes in, and then Doobie was like, "No, you're done. You're good. You don't need any more."
You didn't miss much.
So,
This makes me so happy. This makes me so happy.
yeah, it's Cursed for me.
Okay. Cool.
That's fair. I like that. Yeah.
You guys.
That was a fun movie. I liked
You're
Curse too.
welcome. That was one I picked, not a random.
Is that
picked.
the one that we're gonna have an interesting conversation about, Steph?
You are correct. You are correct, Elle. Everybody just buckle up.
I'm not super stuck in my ranking. I think that there are the three that sit towards the top, the two that are definitely at the bottom, and the two that are just
I'm with you on that. Yeah, we got some mid-tier stuff, some definite things I wish I could erase from memory, and then some that people could convince me they're a little bit better.
Yeah.
So, or a little bit worse.
Okay, this is a really fun week for me then because I'm so exhausted I can barely breathe. But this just makes it easier for me to get through because usually I'm out here fighting for my life on what I thought was good.
True.
But this makes me happy. So I'm gonna give my list of what I thought was worst to best, not Beth. I don't know her. Mother's Day was on the bottom and then Silent Madness. The only reason why I put Silent Madness above Mother's Day because they're basically the same level for me was because of the reason why this man went crazy is fucking stupid and hilarious. And there's nothing funny about Mother's Day. So I put that above.
Good point.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then I have The Last House on the Left, Monkey Shines, Gonjiam, Haunted Asylum. I was going to say Hearse. My brain's not working. Gonjiam, Hearse, Cursed, and Demons. So, like you guys were saying, those three, they're kind of interchangeable. Demons and Cursed go on top. They just go on top for various reasons that I have that we'll get into. Gonjiam was good. I had a really, really good time. So yeah. So let's start with let's start with Mother's Day and get that out of the way. So bad,
Yeah.
and so stupid. It's not like we're in times before cell phones. It's like the things that happen here are super not okay, and it just gets like worse and worse. There's like a house, rich people bought the house, they bought it in foreclosure, but for whatever reason these criminals owned the house, and their mom had no way of telling them that they didn't have the house anymore, even though that process takes a million years to
Yeah.
button up. And they could, I mean, that seems like an event to use the emergency burner phone, don't you think? Hey, not our house anymore.
Well, and it's one of those things. I have actually had a friend who has had her father was an absolute piece of trash. He was a college professor, and he like cheated on his wife and with like a bunch of his college students, and then gave all of his money for the house to gifts to the college students. And so one day the new tenants came to the house because he didn't tell them that they foreclosed. They're like, hey, we own this house now, you all need to be out in 24 hours, get out. They had to pack up their entire lives for it. So those things can happen very quickly, but it is also like, yeah, there's cell phones, and you live in the middle of nowhere, Kansas. It's not like it's going to be that hard for you to like find your mother and figure out what's going on. Oklahoma and Kansas are not that far away from each other. They were not gone that long for that to happen, even as quickly as those things can happen. I was like, it's so stupid. They're all stupid.
It's so stupid. So they're in Kansas. Stupid. I wasn't paying attention to setting because I just didn't care about this fucking movie. Is that why they had a tornado going on at the same time? Because they're in Kansas?
Yes, and that's exactly why, because they were outside of Wichita, which is like 2 hours from where I am. And that was another thing. I was like, as someone who has lived in Kansas the majority of her life, when there is a tornado thing, you are not partying with your friends in their basement.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
That's valid for, I guess, tornado land.
Yeah.
But I come from Florida.
Right. It's
and
a different...
when there's hurricanes, they do be throwing hurricane parties.
Yeah, no, we don't have tornado parties. Because the other thing is that tornadoes usually last all of maybe like 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it's not like it's not like an event. And so like this thing is like, oh, if you, especially the one lady who has a child, like go home to your child in the middle of the tornado.
Yes.
And they're all shitty friends.
They're all horrible.
Yeah. I thought the same thing. Oh my, not a good friend amongst them.
No, they're all terrible people. They're like having affairs. The main issue here is there's like a psycho mom of the criminals, and they've been sending money to this house for her, and she's like, all right, where's my fucking money? And the main girl has it hidden behind a painting this whole time. Like, I'm not holding on to sketchy money. I'm not holding on to sketchy money. Return to sender. Sender.
Yeah, but let's be completely honest in all of this. Nobody was gonna get out. Like,
no,
there was no way. In the beginning, these people come in and start this shit, like all this like backing up and like following their orders and shit. They're not gonna let you live. Are you kidding? Those people are fucking unhinged. There's no way they're letting you live. Get the hell out of there. Like, run as fast as you can, scatter so that they can't get all of you.
I don't know if you guys have seen Hemlock Grove, but the black lady in this movie, she plays like this badass in that show named Clementine Chasseur, and that's all I know her as. She had the right idea. I feel like her and her husband were the smartest, and it actually pissed me off so hard how they went out. They at least were fighting, but like, you didn't have to do my dogs like that. That was crazy.
Yeah. And also, because Al asked me last night, which one it was, I found out this is a remake.
It's a remake
of an 1981. Yeah, and it's guess who made the OG stuff?
Who?
Trauma.
Oh fuck.
Well, makes a lot of sense, right?
yeah, that makes sense. I won't be watching that.
No,
I don't care if someone tries to tell me it's better. If someone tells me that they like this movie, I'm gonna question you.
Yeah. It's like simply not plot driven enough to enjoy. So
no, it's all bad, and for literally no reason, because there was enough traumatic shit going on. This man, like one of the sons who is actually fucking dying, says, I'm gonna go out a virgin, and the mom says, let me find you somebody, and like literally grabs that girl, unzips his pants. Like, what are you doing? Let him go out like that. That was unnecessary.
The only thing that this movie had is the actress who played the mother sold it. She was terrifying.
She
Like
was.
she looked at that script and said, I can do this, and she did it.
She went there and she bought property.
She did.
She did.
And then lost it in a foreclosure.
Ooh, burn.
Did not enjoy it. I watched that last night, and then the next thing that popped up on Tubi was like, here, do you want to watch Last House on the Left? I'm like, I can't.
Me too. It happened to me too. And I'm like,
I can't. It's like I can't do them both.
Yeah,
No.
I did it.
These were like the worst type of movies for me, and then we had another one that was the same type of movie. I was just like, I watched them all together.
Yeah, I did the same thing, and it was a lot, but I was really glad that I watched these in the order that I did, because then the funner movies like made up for a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't have to watch these again. I don't have to watch these again. And that's it for me. I don't have anything else to say about Mother's Day.
I really don't either. Yeah, it was not enjoyable. I mean, gratuitous trauma, just egregious. I mean, character flaws, no character, no plot, no thank you. So
yeah,
there are so many better home invasion movies than this that have very similar plots that just pull it off so much better. Like, go watch those instead.
I implore future movie makers, if you ever look at a shit, if you're ever like, oh, I'm gonna make a movie, a horror movie, should I add like a rapey scene? Don't do it.
No.
Get creative, buddy.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah. Maybe ask yourself, what's horror? You know.
Right.
Like,
no, this is just
there's a difference between horror and trauma. So
yeah.
Yes, there is. And we're gonna judge you for it because this is a podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna take them chuds away.
Yeah, no chuds for you.
No chuds for you.
Let's move on to Silent Madness.
Are we gonna do our chuds though?
I gave it a 0.5 or a half.
I did too.
I fluctuated between half and 1. I went with the 1 because the mom was so fucking scary. Like,
same.
She came in all like sugar, spice, and everything nice, but I will fucking cut you, bitch. So, okay. So I'm gonna be very brief about Silent Madness because even though it had the thing that made me chuckle, it's not a good movie, and that we need to really realize and focus on the fact that it's a bad movie. So there's a very silly mix-up in an institution between the names of a man. What do you remember what the name was? It was like
John Edwards.
John Edwards and Edward Johns or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And one of them is a maximum security because he's a serial killer and they accidentally let the wrong one out. And the men who are in charge were very like, oh, that's crazy. And then they're like, well, no, he actually died to try and cover up. So there's this really like monotone serial killer out there just murdering bitches. He just kills people. And how he got crazy was because he worked at a sorority house and the sorority girls picked on him and they spanked him. And now he does murders.
Hey, that was a beautiful synopsis.
Welcome.
Yep.
I would like to be driven crazy by being spanked.
Right.
I mean, now we know that about you, Elle, but like, wouldn't like, yeah.
I mean, if that's the thing, I would rather do that. I'm just saying.
Don't you spank me in a boiler room? Baby shirts on.
It sure beats the hell out of capitalism eating my brain away. I'm just saying.
That's a valid point. This is going to be a clip. Yeah, I think that's probably one of the more fun methods I've seen of serial killers turning serial killery.
But there was also the mom aspect of it, because I think if his mom wasn't such a freak, maybe he wouldn't have, psychotic broke at somebody spanking his ass. Like,
We don't
Right.
know that though. We don't know. That's just
I mean,
speculation.
she recounted that story. Like, that's a good reason to be a serial killer. She was like, this thing happened. So I was like, oh, we're about to find out just how he was abused. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
he got in a pillow fight with a bunch of sorority sisters. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, sir.
I
You
would
know,
be flattered if a group of sorority girls were like, we're gonna fuck with you. Bend over. Oh, ooh. I'm so
oh
afraid.
no.
Oh no, not getting spanked by pretty girls. Oh no.
yeah. So, like, don't blame it on them. So,
No. There is another thing in this movie though, but it just goes right back to what I was saying about Mother's Day. On top of like it's a ridiculous movie, but on top of all of this, they're trying to discredit this woman doctor so hard, and they have these assistant men in there who are just trying to essay her the entire movie, and it's weird.
Yes.
It's
It was
really
so
weird.
gross.
Yeah.
that was the scary part. Oof.
Yeah.
Jeez,
They're like, I
don't know.
can't wait to get the fucking trank in her so that we can do disgusting shit to her. And it's like, what the fuck?
Why
Right.
is that your, why is
Creepy
that your
looking dudes
default?
anyway.
They were really gross.
Yeah.
And the boss man like just enabled them to go crazy in this environment. They were putting people in Ziploc bags and just like letting them suffer. Like it was weird.
Yeah.
It
There were-
sucked overall. And it was
there were-
very
Yeah, there were three things that I noticed about that movie. Is the girl in the very beginning when they were like talking about the messed up patients, that she was wearing a jumpsuit and she had her arms in her pockets and she was doing this. I loved her. She was like, she was so distracting in the back. There was that. There was the fact that the one girl took her shirt off to go put on another shirt to go have sex, just so they could have a boob shot. And the security officer in the basement was ADR'd. All of his lines were dubbed over. And I don't understand why, because it was still him in the credits. And so I don't know how he messed up as bad as he did when he's like explaining, like, hey, you can't be in here, get your suitcases and go. But all of his lines were dubbed over. And those were the only things that I paid attention to that whole movie. Because I'm like, this is stupid, but like, what is happening?
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I was
wonder
like
what the-
watching it and I was like, that's not matching. I was like, that voice is not matching.
Maybe
But
he
yeah,
was drunk and he was slurring his lines and they were like, okay, you need to redo this.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have just left him drunk though, because it wouldn't have been any weirder than anything else that happened
So
in that
true.
movie.
So
true.
maybe
Yeah.
he was having a hard time executing his racially stereotyped lines.
Maybe he
This
yeah.
dude's probably got a master's from Juilliard, and they're like, y'all for sure, y'all better run. There's something down here. It's just really horrible. The
Terrible.
stereotyping was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrible.
It was not a
Just
good movie.
terrible.
When the only thing
No.
I'm paying attention to is people taking their shirts on and off and for no reason. That says a lot about the movie.
I mean, people was looking pretty good for, what it was, I guess.
The thing that distracted me the most, this man that she just started dating, the like handsome man of the movie, when he was trying to protect her, he did this like behind the back shotgun thing and didn't hit anything. And I'm like, just hold it and shoot the man. Try to kill me.
I forgot about that.
Hold it.
He's a stormtrooper in another existence,
Yeah.
How do you just, like, I don't know, prey on people occupationally like that? Ew.
No, nothing good at all. I think that the found footage haunted asylum thing is a better like portrayal of the way people were treated in in the institutional situation than anything we saw there. So
Yeah.
For sure. One shed.
What did I give that one?
Gave that one chud also.
I think I gave it 1.5, but I think the 0.5 was literally just for the jumpsuit lady. I've been obsessed with her ever since I saw her. She's my favorite thing on the planet.
Jumpsuit lady.
That's amazing. I gave
She's
it
like-
0.5. It was my lowest.
Valid. Valid. So the next movie I have is The Last House on the Left. This movie is pretty hard to watch. I have seen it before, but I saw it a long time ago. So like I knew all the spots to like prepare myself. If you've never seen this movie before, the first time is always gonna be a jarring time. The family goes on vacation and the teenage daughter like knows a girl from the town and goes to hang out with her. Relatively normal small town shit when there's nothing else to do. They were trying to get some weed. The thing about small towns though, if you see someone who's unfamiliar, it's probably best not to get drugs from them ever. No one would do that in the small town that I grew up in, but like it's like a huge red flag, but they do. He is a teenage boy, so like normal, but everything about like the setup of the situation had like the hairs on my neck standing up. Like I was a paranoid teenager, but I not afraid to run at this at any sign of danger. I don't care what my friends are doing. Like my chest kind of hurts even just talking about it. So, yeah, the teenage boy's family is criminals and they take the girls and do depraved things. And the way that girl, like her survival instincts kicked in, it's like how I feel about the kid in the Black Phone. I don't want anything bad to happen to kids in movies, but when they do, I really love that there's like they make up for it, with the kids surviving. And then in a bananas turn of events, the criminals end up at the parents' house, and the parents, they see what's happened to their kid, and then they have to fight these criminals. And it's a lot, and like, woo, it's a lot.
Okay, I have a question for you guys about this movie. Is this a horror film?
I don't consider them to be horror. It feels like trauma thriller, like that specific category of things that are designed to make your heart race because it's a very realistic scenario. And like, you think, my parents are in their 50s. Could they whoop ass? Yeah. But to put my parents in that situation where, first of all, they have to see me like that, and then they have to fight these people, we're all going to need therapy forever.
I never want to watch another movie where I have to see an explicit rape scene again, ever.
Yeah.
I never want to watch
You don't
another
have
movie
to
like that.
have that.
Ever. I mean,
is there a website that will tell you if something like that is in it rather than just heavily implied? Because I feel like we can survive the rest of the life of this podcast without covering another movie like that.
I think IMDb is required to disclose those in detail under their like sex and nudity tags.
Okay.
Because they're I think they're required to be like, and they're very good about being detailed of like that, of like, oh, you see like a butt and it's implied, or they'll tell you if it's actually genuinely like explicit. So they're pretty good about staying on top of those things. I don't know how much for indie films that considers to work, but for like major motion pictures, because there was that one that had the word white in the title. It had Jeremy Renner in it, and it was about the missing girls that were getting killed in the reservations, and that has a very like extensive rape scene, and IMDb is like, this is where it happens, this is exactly what goes on, this is why you should skip it. So they're pretty good about those sorts of things. But yeah,
I mean, if it would give me like timestamps that I could skip, I might like watch around. I just can't. That was very traumatizing. It was long, and I I was incredibly uncomfortable. I had to like pause it and like walk away and then like try to skip over it a little bit. But she like runs immediately afterwards. So it's kind of important to come in at the right moment so you can see that chase, which is horrifying.
Yeah.
And then the scene where her dad examines her.
Yeah. It's really, really fucking hard.
Yeah, the shit made my stomach hurt, honestly. Like, and I just kept asking myself, is this a horror film? You know, I like scary movies. I signed up to watch a horror film, not a horrifying film. You know, I think that one of the foundations of horror should be that it attempts to be scary to everyone of whatever the appropriate age limit is. And I think that this film in particular, we have to ask, who is this scary for? I mean, it's scary for women. It's scary for people with daughters. I guess, you know, it's scary for teenagers, whatever. But that's kind of it. And then there's a whole group of people who might not even see this as a horror film, but rather an exciting film. You know what I mean? Like, this film was just tailor-made for predators, in my opinion. I just don't want to see women getting raped in the woods, shot, punched in the mouth, like just all of this crap that is very specific. And you got to ask yourself with like, I don't know, a man 16 to 60 years old, is this a horror film to them? Or is this just, oh, that sucks, women's experiences, you know? And that's what a cheap fucking shot. What a below the belt shot when it comes to making a film, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just somebody sat down and wrote this crap, you know? And why else would you write out a long rape scene other than you find it exciting? Because honestly, we all know the horror of that. Like, if you're an alive adult intellectual human being, you know the horror of that. Like, I don't think we have to see it on
I would
film.
rather be killed. I would rather be killed.
Yeah.
And a lot of women would, you know, I think, and a lot of people would in general, not to make rape exclusive to women even. It's just what a way to re-victimize victims, you know? So what are we saying? Oh, if, you know, if you're a survivor, stay away from all horror because this is a main trope of horror films, rape films.
Icky.
It's very icky. We should get to have our gore, our scares, and our, you know, catharsis when it comes to getting a scary thrill without the risk of traumatization, you know, honestly. So I really didn't care for this one. I gave this one like a chud and a half. You know, the filming was solid. The setting was solid. It was a real movie, you know, all of that stuff. But this wasn't a horror film. This was something else, you know. I wish these had their own category, rape thriller.
Yeah. This is a remake.
Right.
Yes,
I thought it
is.
was, yeah.
Yeah. I've never
And
seen
isn't there another one after this?
What?
Oh, I don't know. Probably.
I just felt like I didn't need that. And even, and I didn't feel great. Like, I know they killed all the people, but I don't want good people to have to be murderers to get retribution for rapists. You know?
Yeah.
I don't feel good about, oh, if someone rapes someone else, you can always put their head in a microwave. That doesn't make me feel better. You know, like, I'm just good on that.
That's the only good part of the movie.
Yeah, that's why I gave it the rating I gave it, was for this motherfucker's head in the microwave. It's like, good for you, Dad.
It didn't make up for it. It didn't make up for the trauma, but it was hilarious to me at the ending. Like, really putting his head in. All right, brother. I've watched too many YouTube videos where they try to like rewire microwaves to make lasers and stuff, and so.
Also, it was slow. The movie was slow.
That's true. Was it what was the runtime? It looks like there was a sequel, but they didn't make it.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. Just let it.
Yeah.
Let it die.
I don't know what the runtime on this was, but it felt very long. But I watched this in pieces too because like I literally couldn't.
I
We
feel
should
like it was
have a
close to 2
post.
hours.
It was
Yeah, it
long,
was 110. Yeah, 110 minutes.
We should
longer than.
keep track on the website movies we will not revisit ever again, and with warnings.
Yeah.
Just in case anyone's looking for something like that, we can have an easy reference because, yeah,
I'm not a fan of anything where like the main mechanism is just murder for no reason without like a supernatural element or like some lore element or something that's engaging like the other side of my mind. Anyway, so like slashers in general aren't it for me, but this one was particularly gratuitous. And if it wasn't for like the script flipping partway through and like her parents being like pretty like great fucking characters, honestly, and pretty good hero figures, um which like Steph said, my parents couldn't. My parents could never. But if it wasn't for that, I would this would have been the bottom just because of how traumatizing it was.
No, I agree. If it didn't flip like that with the parents getting vengeance and like being very, just very good about the situation, it would have been at the bottom.
It was too much. Like, there's a fine line between like resilience and overwhelm. Like they already had one kid die, which I think was part of the fuel to their "we got to keep this one alive" fire. But at the same time, it's just it's kind of like the Walking Dead syndrome. If you lose too much, the viewer doesn't care about anybody anymore.
Yeah, The Walking Dead is a really good example of that because I noped the fuck out of that show. So
you just start losing too much, and you're like, I can't invest in anyone or anything. Or I'm gonna get hurt.
Period.
And
Fuck y'all.
friend, she died in a horrible way, and even though the chick survived, she still went through something that mentally kills a lot of people. We know that. So there's no hope, even though they got out of this. Like, how many concussions can you sustain before there's permanent damage, kind of thing? So I don't know.
That scene with the collapsed lung too.
Right. Just kill everybody and start fresh. I was kind of mad they had the kid on the boat too. He literally sat there in the woods and watched that other chick die. He didn't try to help her. So I don't know.
And he's like a teenage, like he's old enough. You're not getting in my fucking boat. You can figure it out. I'm not adopting you. Like, no.
It was trauma bonding I think so.
For sure. But just like
not
in
healthy.
That Noroi the Curse, I'm not taking the haunted kid. Fuck the kid.
I would rather take the kid from Noroi the Curse. I'm sorry.
No. Lindsay, it ended up being
I know
was in there.
It was Mr. Tuba. I know. I would rather take Mr. Tuba into my home than a boy that watched my daughter get raped and didn't do anything.
It's nothing, bro. Nothing. Yeah. I'm sorry. A random stranger I see is going through something like that. I'm gonna try to intervene. It's some kind of way. Like, he didn't even shake 2 pine cones together.
No, and they're obvious. Okay, they kill you. They're not. I don't think that they're going to.
If he would have made a run for it too, like he probably could have got. He's pretty tall and skinny. They're older. He probably could have got. It would have distracted them too. He probably would have got up off of her to chase him.
But also, he brought them there in the first place, knowing that they're murdering criminals.
Right.
No.
Yep.
I don't care. I don't care. No. In my mind, this is all your fault. So, sorry.
He could have said, let me go in the room and grab it and we'll go smoking in the woods or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Stay up in the hotel room, them knowing they could come back.
Literally. He was scared to try on a fucking shirt.
Right. Don't go in, first of all. Make them bring it out to the cart.
He's a stranger in a motel. No.
The whole movie, just a bunch of giant N-O's. It was bad.
And fucking Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad in this.
This big forehead bitch. And I say that as a big forehead bitch.
He was really dumb too. I'm like, man, come on.
He was so thirsty. He was so thirsty, bro. Like, he's never seen a lady before. Stop.
Ever.
Stop it.
ever.
The girl that's with them takes her titties out all the time. Like, you're fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to be that thirsty.
She did. She did just take her
She
titties
whipped
out.
them out in
Titties
front
were
of
always
teenage
out.
girls.
Something was wrong with her. She also watched people die up close for fun.
Yeah.
She deserved
Yeah.
to get her forehead burnt. Amen.
Yeah, she deserved what she got. She is worse than the guys in my opinion. That kind of woman,
Mm-hmm.
special place in hell. So
2.5 chuds.
I gave it 2 chuds.
I gave it 1.5.
I didn't watch this one because I wanted to sleep. So
Valid. I would have
Right.
rather slept than watched this.
Yeah, I honestly want to disqualify it because I don't even feel like it's a horror film. So
Yeah. I mean, technically it's a good movie. It's just not a good watch.
Yeah, it's really hard to watch, but it's like cinematically, it's really good. It's just, like, it's so hard.
if you had a long day, you want to decompress with some horror, this is not the film. You're gonna feel extra tired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, watch Gonjiam. Let's leave them shits in the dust and continue with Monkey Shine. Okay, I saw Monkey Shines when I was like a teenager. I didn't realize it was a Romero film.
Me neither. I rented it from our local Blockbuster video with my best friend in middle school, and we watched it.
I just watched this week.
For the
So
first time.
a brand new experience. Yeah. You know what? This one
Experience.
surprised me the most out of all of them, honestly. Kind of the least predictable and the most
Yes.
different, really. I mean, it was different. I'll say that.
A little bit cursed. I think Monkey Shines is really funny. It's not a comedy. It's not intended to be a comedy at all. This man gets hit by a car while he's exercising and has bricks in his backpack because he's an athlete. That spin with the bricks flying out of his back.
Oh, I disappeared.
Not funny.
Yeah.
It's not funny. He's paralyzed now.
Ooh.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
But the wreck wasn't the reason, so it's okay.
Oh yeah. He is a paraplegic now. I am sorry I emphasized it the way that I did in my pronunciation. But yeah, so he's in a wheelchair. He's very grumpy because, well, he's paralyzed, but also his woman ran off with his doctor. And so he's got a lot going on. He's very, very, very grumpy with a lot of people, and he scowls a lot. Understandable. His friend does experiments with monkeys, and he's injecting it with like a brain thing. And he knows this woman Melanie, who does like, she trains capuchin monkeys to do things for people. So he spirits this monkey away and says it died of an overdose and gives it to his friend, even though it has all this experimental brain juice in it. And the monkey decides, well, the monkey and the man brain meld together, and at night he has these very realistic dreams where he's in the monkey's body, and the monkey like will hurt anybody for him. The monkey's like in love with him. Ella.
Definitely.
So fucking funny.
This one was if you're a little too woke, like myself, you won't really enjoy this one, but it will be surprising. I mean, the monkey herself, like, I felt bad for her, of course, like, they're abusing animals in this film, even though they put that big thing at the beginning that was like no monkeys was harmed. I'm like, how not? Like, it's impossible. Like, you could not have got this footage without coercing a monkey, so
Yeah.
the whole thing with the monkeys, it was really like, it bothered me a lot, so I just didn't enjoy that. And I was like, okay, this film also just kind of shits on women. You know what? if you want a monkey to come home with you and do your dishes and turn on the light and bring you your straw and flip the pages for you, you might have to marry her. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you want a woman doing stuff for you around the house for free for nothing? You want a slave? That's what you want. Like, so I didn't care for that. I was like, you know what? The monkey's in love with you. You're just going to have to deal with it. You know, I don't know. Or you could pay a person to come and do your chores for you. So, I just, I felt for the monkey. I wanted Ella to come out on top.
Me too.
Yeah, no, I did too.
Ella's cute.
I had a good time in this movie, but I wasn't like a fan of the man. I didn't give a shit about that man, and I loved when she pissed on him. That was literally my favorite part in this whole movie, because they're like, oh, girl monkeys aren't like that. They're not whatever. Don't tell a woman what she's gonna or not gonna do. Pee on that man.
Yeah.
He also looks way too old for college. He looked like he was like in his 40s.
It was older. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time I watch a film from like the 80s or 90s, I'm reminded that like everybody's getting hair plugs these days, because like everybody has a receding hairline in like all the movies from the 80s and 90s. Like 25, 45, doesn't matter. Receding hair.
They are getting hair plugs. It's on TikTok. I synced it.
Okay. If it was on TikTok, it's happening. So
It's true. Yeah.
I didn't hate this movie. I didn't hate it. I was like with it. I wanted to see what happened, you know.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have known what happened.
Oh, yeah, sorry, girl.
I got to the point where he went back to college and then it kept stopping. So it's like he was like introducing the monkey to people and then that's it. That's all the further I got.
Like,
things got bad after that.
Okay.
yeah. My thing is, I also hated the nurse like a lot. She was very hateful. And my thing is like, it's okay if you hate people, but just don't be a nurse. She was pissed about everything. Everything. Like they weren't paying her. I don't know.
It's kind of like the nurse in that Two Evil Eyes in the Romero one.
Yeah, yes.
Maybe that's just the way he sees nurses.
Yeah, you're right. This guy hates nurses. Yeah.
Oh my God. He's probably had a bad medical experience with a bitch nurse. Sorry, George.
Same.
Wait, but also I just like had that flashback, yeah, to the Romero's Lost film with the old people.
Oh yeah. That was an
That wasn't
awful
good.
fucking movie.
It wasn't good. But Romero's obviously been through some things.
This one was not great. What I liked about this movie is it took a lot of stuff, you know, like there was stuff like beakers and, you know, the set was really full, really dense with, you know, props and kind of things that made the setting. So I felt that, you know, they had to have all these monkeys. They had to have a laboratory. So, you know, and the guy, he did his best, even though I saw his hand move a couple times, you know, like he did his best not moving any part of his body except for his head, I guess. So that would have been pretty tough. The acting was all right.
I'm checking my notes because I know that I had some shit to say about this movie. First of all, I think it's really fucking weird that the mom was so hateful towards Melanie. Your man is paralyzed and his girl left him for his doctor. Let him see someone new, you know, who has experience. You know what I mean? Like, let him. It's weird.
My granny is a little overbearing, and I feel like she's taking care of some of my aunts and uncles that have gotten ill, and she gets involved in their relationships in an unhealthy way. I think that's kind of like a normal busybody old woman thing. So
Busybody old woman. I feel like this movie made attempts at being inclusive. They had a sex scene with the paralyzed man.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Girl, I had a good laugh at that. When that scene came out, I was like, she knew exactly what she was doing when she came into the room and saw Bro had his house outfitted for his disability and that he's got this swing and a winch and all this stuff in the bedroom. She was like, you know what?
I want to try that.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that was not a spur of the moment thing. She was like, let me just
Yeah.
climb right up here. Oh yeah.
Literally, okay. But that whole scene was hilarious, not for the sex, because she made it work. Okay, she really, really did. Good for them. But the monkeys are fucking raging in the background while she's sitting on his face.
Like, how could you pay through that? That's a lot of noise, dude. I would think that I would like not be able to concentrate on
No,
anything,
I'm
you
not
know?
coming. No, I would laugh. How can you not?
Hey, she
Girl
was
gets back like,
established.
get it, girl. Get.
Like I said, it was surprising. There were scenes like that and other scenes that I was like, you know what?
Yeah,
That's one way to do it.
yeah. Literally. Well, okay. Oh, get her done. That's why this movie's in the middle.
I like the scenes where you are like looking through the monkey's eyes too, like while
Mm-hmm.
she's running around murdering people.
Yeah, that's really fun. And like burning people's houses down. And she would pretend to be scared of fire. Like she was an actress. I hope they paid her well.
That's all I'm trying to say. What did the monkeys get out of this? I mean,
Better not say bananas.
right,
She was
right.
so cute.
Mm.
Yeah, she was.
2.5 cheds.
I gave it 3. I was like, okay, like some stuff was surprising, you know?
Yeah.
I gave it 2.5 as well.
I gave it 2.5.
Let's move on to Gonjiam Haunted Asylum.
Hmm?
Found footage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So scared me. It genuinely freaked me out. I watched it curled in bed with my iPad in my face, and I was like, you know, I hear really good things about this movie. Let's get into it. No, I should have watched it during the daytime on the TV like a normal person. It was very cool though. I like the interesting angles that they chose. I love the modern found footage where they're like, let's get the drones, let's get the GoPros, because I have recently been on trips where that's how we took our group pictures, was on the drone and the 360 camera. So it's like they do haunted stuff because they have like a haunted like website where they stream at haunted locations, but guaranteed nothing like this before, which is usually how it is when you're going into a found footage movie. If this is the norm, this is going to be an experience like no other. And it really sets you up. It really sets you up because 3 of the guys, I believe, they're trying to hit a certain number of streams to get paid a certain amount per ads, and 3 of the guys are in that they've planted some things. And I love that because you're like, what's real and what's not. Yeah. And then like it's all good and like mildly spooky, and then like the last 34 minutes of the movie is like that shit crazy, and I like that shit.
It also shows what happens when you disrespect places that people were like went through serious trauma and harm. That energy clings to stuff. Whether or not it is, you know, ghost or whatever, I'm not here to say that, but it's disrespectful to go like traipsing through there for fucking YouTube views. It's gross.
Yes,
So
like Baggins. Oh.
I liked this one, but I didn't absolutely love it. Probably for the, one of the reasons you kind of said, Steph, or one of the, it wasn't your reason for not liking it, but it was a 34-minute movie for me.
Yeah.
And everything else, like I got up and like made a drink and came back, like that kind of stuff. It wasn't moving fast enough. And when the first couple of spooks were really nothing, So it just wasn't like enough. Like we needed those floating ghosts like in the kind of beginning quarter. It just would have been a little bit more exciting. But the footage, angles, and kind of the lighting itself was all the stuff you want from found footage.
The creative use of the cameras.
Yeah. I feel like, because I watch a lot of South Korean films and a lot of South Korean horror films, and I feel like they are very slow building movies with a lot of stuff that happens right at the end. Like that's very typical for how their stuff works. And I don't know if that's because of like how their censorship is or how like their movie productions do, but I've noticed that with like The Wailing's like that. Parasite was like that. Train to Busan's a little bit different, but I think that was such a
is so good.
Train to Busan is a phenomenal film.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of the ones that I've watched are similar to that, where it's like, okay, this is kind of slow and it's kind of building. It's like, oh, what the hell? And then it's just like 30 minutes of just nonstop roller coaster and then it's over. So, but I like this movie. I've seen this movie multiple times. It's so fun. It's again, I've seen all 26 seasons of Ghost Adventures. I love that sort of stuff. I love the dumb people doing ghost hunting things. Like I send Elle like any type of like reel that has Zach Bagans on it. I will send it to her on Instagram. I'm just like flooding. like I said, this sort of stuff is my favorite. I love watching people go in and hunt for ghosts and stupid things happening.
Yeah. I feel like Zach Baggins doesn't get all he deserves from the ghost. He should get way more than what, like partially blinded or something with the demon house thing, and like he deserves more.
He's literally asking for it.
He really does.
He's begging for it.
One of these days, Aaron is gonna snap and just absolutely destroy Zach, and that's gonna be it. Then the Ghost Adventures is gonna be done.
I mean, bye.
You deserve it.
Yeah. It's a fun movie.
With what Mel said, I think that honestly, the thing about this is it's kind of like Heidi in that way where it's like a little bit too close to what it's trying to replicate, that YouTube video type of thing, where it does. That's I think where the length is when you watch something like this, there is a lot of dead air, and I think it's like trying to replicate it in a way that just doesn't work in a movie format as well.
No, it was a lot of, it felt very like behind the scenes, and like a little bit of that is perfectly fine, but I still didn't care about the people. I didn't
No,
I
not
didn't really differentiate, but I feel like that's what it was trying to do with all that long beginning part, was trying to get you invested in the characters. I don't think that it did a very good job of that. It did a very good job of like, we work on a film crew. Like, all right, cool. Scary.
Made me want to eat pizza.
Oh, the food, yeah.
The food did look good. Once they kind of abandoned their sense of self-preservation for clicks, then I was like, all right, Ghost, get them all. Don't leave any, you know.
Eat them up.
So, literally.
Yeah. I kind of was like, well, what'd you expect? I did like to see a Korean cultural aspect on some stuff we see in a lot of like haunting films, you know, Western haunting films like The Seance. You know, so instead of like a Ouija board and candles or whatever, they had their own variety of that. That was pretty cool. I like that spin on it. Yeah.
It was definitely going to be interesting to see with how like things like YouTube and Twitch and streaming and things continue to grow, of how it influences the found footage and horror things, because I'm one of those people that I will watch 3-hour streams of just people just sitting there playing video games, and I enjoy that stuff, but it doesn't necessarily translate to film.
Yeah.
Which is why I think that one movie that came out during COVID, what is it, Host?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that Host
was
and
phenomenal.
Host was under an hour, I think. Or
Well, because and the reason it was is because they wanted it to fit in the length of a free Zoom meeting. It's the exact same time of what a free Zoom meeting is, and so
was at the time.
Right.
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting to see stuff like this. There are a couple more like of these like streaming horror films. Spree is one of them that had the kid from, or the guy from Stranger Things. That one's a whole thing that's like live streamed on TikTok, I think was the premise of that one. And there's another one that was very similar to, like, he's the ghost hunter dude and he's doing a live stream and he goes into a haunted house, and actually there was two of them, because there was another one that was he was a internet exorcist, and his whole thing
Internet
was
exorcist.
his whole thing was setting up fake exorcisms to stream them to make revenue, and then he accidentally unleashes an actual demon. So like those movies are
Good.
happening.
Serves him right.
Right. And it's just very interesting with things like, like this, to be like, okay, they're trying to make it feel as authentic as it does for what you would be for a streaming situation, but it doesn't necessarily translate to film well. Like if that showed up on YouTube one day with no context, that would be a phenomenal marketing plan. Like, so it's interesting. I really like that kind of new direction of things are going, as someone who spends a lot of time watching streamers and let's plays and things like that. And I'm excited for it.
I think it's a good direction for horror movies to take. Like, the other movies that we were talking about are using an old played out thing that doesn't work, that people hate, that's traumatic, and we're like, please stop doing that. Find new ways to traumatize me that aren't real but are that scary. Get creative. I think that's a really good route to take.
I gave this one. How many chuds did I give it? This last one.
3 chuds.
3 chuds, yeah.
I gave it 3.5. I like this movie. I've seen it multiple times, so it's a good brain off movie.
Except you have to read.
That's true.
My brain is firmly on.
I mean, sorta. You like Scream is the same in every language.
True. Is the next movie cursed?
The next movie's cursed. I got some splaining to do. Okay. Curse is, first of all, so much fucking fun. It's a werewolf movie, and I feel like that there aren't very many super fun werewolf movies. I feel like they sleep on werewolves, and I don't understand why. It's a classic monster. Do something. And like, normally for me, the werewolf thing is like the transformation. And you can only give so many examples of a really good transformation, right?
Wolf Cop.
What is it?
Best example.
Oh, Wolf Cop, American Werewolf in London. Hemlock Grove has a really sickening one that I am a huge fan of. And for this one, it's got Hollywood names in this movie, which isn't always the case for movies that we might cover. Christina Ricci is the main. She's everybody's main squeeze, everybody's spooky main squeeze. Joshua Jackson is her dickbag boyfriend. Jesse Eisenberg is her brother. Milo What's-His-Face is the shitty jock. Milo What's-His-Face from Heroes. Maya's in it. Stop. It's so fun, right?
Steph put this on here for a reason, though.
So like, I am most known, I don't know if it's most known, but I'm very well known in this circle and on this podcast for crushing on weird dudes. And I have been I've been mercilessly roasted, okay? Mostly by Jay. Mostly by Jay, but I'll be getting in there too sometimes. Okay. I don't remember how it came about, but admitting that I had a crush on Jesse Eisenberg in American Ultra, and it's my favorite stoner movie. Yes. Go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. It's gonna get better.
Okay.
First of all, this movie's older. Okay. I saw it when it came out the first time. Loved it. Elle watched this movie and I get a text message that says, we have to talk about Jesse Eisenberg. And I said, I knew this day would come.
He is so fucking weird looking, but like towards the end, I'm just like, you know what? I kind of see it. I mean, I might if I was drunk enough. He's like so weird looking, he's almost cute. And that's kind of like my thing. So why I didn't immediately see it, I don't know.
Because it's not all the time.
It's
all
not.
the time.
In the beginning, I was like, he looks like a fucking caveman. What's wrong with his forehead?
And his hair literally looks like a Lego man wig. You know what I mean?
That is.
Look this up.
But like for some reason towards the ending, I'm just like, you know what?
You know?
Yeah, I'd do it.
You know? Mel
Maybe
is judging.
maybe your type, like curvature of the spine in unnatural places. Like, I don't know.
I mean, Stephanie knows what my crush looks like, so
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about a man I have to like medicinally serve milk to every day. I'm not sure.
fuck. I just got totally roasted.
Yeah, it's a no for me. And especially with just the buffet of hot women in that movie, like it's like an ultra no. So I mean Portia de Rossi, man. Like, so
Yes.
that's a no.
All that's valid, Mel. All of that is incredibly valid. I'm not saying it makes sense. It makes no fucking sense at all. But I know who I am, and I'm not gonna like. I don't
It's
temper pieces of
If
myself.
he's your type, if your type is the guy who's like apocalypse solution for you is to just wait it out. He's like, maybe we just wait it out and help comes. Like that's
Roasting me so hard, dude.
yeah, it's pretty easy. I mean, this guy, like, come on, seriously,
No.
a guy who's wearing khakis and it looks like that's what he should be wearing. Like, okay, yeah, khakis for this guy. Like, ugh. No.
Okay, let's be fair. Let's be fair. He's not actually my type. Freddie doesn't look like that. It's just like a weird thing where I'm like, and it comes from like, this is left over from like my teenage years. That was literally, but my thing was like having crushes from afar, and like I can romanticize anything about anybody as a basement
100%.
teenager, a basement dwelling teenager, but like the minute that they wanted to like touch me or even breathe the same air as me, I'm like, whoa, no. That's it.
I am in my late 30s and I'm still the same way.
So sometimes it just be like that.
I'm not. You gotta pass the 50-yard test. Like, we gotta get within 50 yards of each other. I gotta get a good look, you know. And this guy, he would not have passed that test. From a distance, I would have been like, I see some curvature of the spine. I'm not sure. Yeah. So.
Well, you could like fight him.
Yeah, that's true. You know,
Yeah.
that too. So, I mean, his sister looked like she was, you know, eating good at the house. I don't know what the protein ratio is for them, but, you know, like Christina Ricci's out there, like, throwing stuff around in the woods. So, I'm like, no way, that's your sister. That's what I say when I come over to the guy's house telling him I'm hang out with him. Oh, that's your sister?
I'm just gonna fucking end it, dude. I'm ending it all after this one.
You know what?
I'm here to bring you guys to your senses. I want you to survive the apocalypse.
Listen, I'm not depending on him to save me from the apocalypse. I have apocalypse-worthy skills. I'm not depending on a Jesse Eisenberg bitch.
I am waiting for the apocalypse to take me. I don't want to survive.
I mean, he was a werewolf. I'm not sure like zombies could even do to a werewolf. I mean, zombie werewolf, like
that's true.
They might be immune.
That's what I want to know. Are like some of these like dark curses or whatever, like can you get them both? Like, do they mingle? Like, does it make a new super virus? Like,
oh, it sounds like you need to watch Underworld to me.
Oh, yes, you can. Just like you get us. Yeah, just mix them on up.
Don't worry.
You know,
it's on the list. It's on the list. We were talking about it recently, and I'm just like, everybody in Underworld is like their dark leather hot self, like the hot leather version of themselves in this movie. It's crazy. Everyone's hot.
Most people were hot and cursed, I would say, except for this guy you guys are going on about.
No, I don't know. Whatever.
You know, at the end there's a thing about him. I don't know. Okay?
He's glowing. It doesn't matter because it's not like he's hot in a way where I'm like, let me break off a piece of that. It's Pedro Pascal. It's just like, you got a little glowy mystery about you, you know?
It's like that weird Pete Davidson thing that people have, that everyone just thinks
Yeah.
Pete Davidson is like the cutest thing, and I'm like, he looks like a wet rat. I don't
He literally
understand
looks
it.
like you fished him out of the river.
He does.
But it just be like that sometimes.
But some people are just like, he's so cute. And it's like, okay.
Look like they have medical conditions, okay? Because
Yeah.
looks like his liver is struggling or something. I don't know. Like
Maybe that's that thing inside of me that's like, I can patch you up. You look damaged and I'll like it. I don't know. That's old. So we're working on that. We didn't talk about the plot of this movie really, but that's okay. Because we could literally cover this. It's its own movie.
I mean, the plot was solid. They got in a car wreck. They got bitten and scratched by a werewolf who ate another chicken half. They slowly became werewolves. Yeah.
It was
chaos
bloody for being PG-13, right? Like it was pretty bloody.
Yeah, I knew it was the boyfriend though immediately. Like I knew he was the wolf.
But I like how they try to throw you off with the publicist werewolf, and I love that scene where Christina Ricci's talking shit about her bony ass, and she breaks the window and flips them off. Farm. I'm like, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah,
so good. Had a great time. I'm always gonna have a great time when I watch this movie.
It's
always 3.5 Cheds.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Where did I put it? I gave it 2.5.
Because you're ashamed.
I am. Well, I think I'm very ashamed at this point. I don't
give a damn.
It seems like you got to figure it out. Like Jesse's not the man to get you through, but he might ask you some intriguing, pointless questions throughout.
I'm leaving him behind in the apocalypse. Respectfully, I'm leaving him behind. I will MacGyver this shit myself. You just sit here and look like you have a medical condition and hope for the best.
I mean, fair enough. It seems like you could offer to show him your boobs for like a lot of things for a long time. Yeah. It would work. You'd be like, if you do this, I'll show you my boobs. That would work for maybe a long time with this kind of guy. So
I think so. And if you don't do it, no boobs for you.
That would work for literally any character Jesse Eisenberg's ever played.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
So.
Like Zombieland,
Facts.
the Facebook movie, like even when he played Lex Luthor, like
James.
That's just he just got that vibe. Him and Michael Cera both have that vibe.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I love Michael Cera
too. He's so cute. He's so dorky.
So our final movie is Dario Argento's Demons, which I love this fucking movie. I'm sure it's not for everybody, but this is literally the definition of the shit I like. This movie. And I was fortunate enough, the first viewing, like the first time I ever saw this movie was a couple months ago. Popcorn Frights was, they put it in the theater in Fort Lauderdale. And I actually, it was pretty early into Friday Night Dating. And like, that's how I knew that he liked me. Because I was like, come to this movie with me. And he's not like a horror guy. And he was like, yeah. And he wore his fancy shirt. And then we get there and like, it's so gory. And he had a good time. It's a great fucking movie. Like, for lots of reasons. I didn't look anything up beforehand, but I saw that it was set in a movie theater. And I think that's really interesting. The concept of being in a movie theater and watching a horror movie set in a movie theater. And Al, you saw this movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was going to ask how you liked it because it was mostly set just inside this movie theater.
I loved the setting. Yeah, I loved the setting. Yeah. And like, it's so unique because it's like, you know, I don't know why more things don't do things in like theaters and, you know, like opera houses. And because it's such a cool setting. But yeah, I really enjoyed the setting on this one.
Amazing.
Yeah, good stuff.
I liked the music. I liked the opening scene, like following that girl around. The like half metal face guy giving her a mysterious ticket to a mysterious theater. I love all that shit. And I love that what's taking place in real life, some of the same things are happening in the movie. Like, talk about ultimate paranoia and like ultimate suspicion. And like, we said recently, I can't remember what it was, like, oh, this is how we would get caught in a scary movie situation. Oh, do you remember what that was? I
Don't
can't
remember.
I can't remember for the life of me, but this is also how, because literally the only reason I go to popcorn frights events, it randomly, this would be like the modern version, randomly out of nowhere, I get an ad on Facebook that I barely go on anyway, like last year. And it was like, oh, Fright Night, one of my favorite fucking movies ever, that they're putting it on the big screen at this random theater in Fort Lauderdale. And I was like, I'm gonna go to that. And I went alone. Imagine it turns out to be a haunted theater that turns me into a freaking demon. Imagine that would be a good way to take me out. Just just yeah.
I
So,
like
like,
this one. Very gory, like you were
Very.
saying. It kind of had that trad like gore feel to it. I liked all the slime and goop and stuff. They were infecting each other. It's pretty gross. It was giving
Yes.
classic horror. It was giving slasher. I liked it.
With that
Preach.
that Dario Argento like color palette where everything is just so neon.
Neon
Because
and
Suspiria is like
waxy.
that, and some of his other movies are like that. It's just like the colors are just so vivid in everything when it's supposed to be something that draws your eye. And that's one of the things I do love about the way that he does movies, is that it's just like they're very eye catching.
God, not all of his movies. Suspiria was my favorite until I saw this one, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is hands down my favorite. My favorite Dario Argento. I really
Which is funny because
love.
he only like directed it, or he didn't even have like a major part in it.
know.
It's just Dario Argento presents, and it was like
Slap his
written by
name on
someone
it.
else. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like the practical effects in this movie. It's like a really, really warm welcome, as opposed to like a lot of the other movies that we watched. And I love the goopiness. I do. And then like the transformations are like kind of different. They're all just like a little bit different. My favorite my favorite was the girl's friend turning into a demon, because she was literally so lovely, while you know that she's about to like switch over to the dark side all of a sudden, and she like attacks them, but then she goes the extra mile. She's like on all fours, and then like a literal demon crawls out of her back.
Yeah.
So good.
it utilized music like an Argento film, though. And I was amused that Saxon was on here because you might not remember Steph because it was a while ago, but I am going back through and editing things for YouTube. And I just did the Santa sleigh one, and I was like, this needs Saxon's Great White Buffalo on this because he's riding a Great White Buffalo. And Saxon was on this soundtrack, and I was amused that they had like this kind of weird new wave of British heavy metal band on there.
I like my favorite character. I forget his name, but the big black guy. He's my favorite because he was so fucking no nonsense, and his lady friends were literally the first to get taken out. And I like how he's like, "This is fucked up. I'm not fucking around." And he's like, toss the dead bodies, and people are like arguing with him, and I'm like, just do the thing. Like the girls were like, oh, we can go outside and crawl in the window of the projector box. He says, fuck that, and he kicks the door down. Yeah. Kick the door down.
I liked him too.
Yeah.
You know, but the characters in general were just, especially the women, way too hysterical for me. Like when they ran down to the basement or whatever and saw that there were no exits, literally every single woman just went like she just lost her mind and went hysterical and could not think anymore. Women were fainting out of fear. I mean, guys who had no idea where they were going, stick with me, babe. You know, like it's just the hysterics were a little bit annoying, but you know, it was a good way to keep them running around like, you know, in a maze, trapped kind of.
I'm gonna be so honest. I don't know if the hysteria level in my mind was overboard because I really put myself in that situation because I was in a movie theater and I was looking around while I was watching that movie like, all right, if some shit popped off, what am I gonna do? I freak out. Like I feel like I'm smart and I could like handle, but if other people are freaking out, I'm gonna freak the fuck out. I'm gonna get lost in the, you know, like the group hysterics, at least for a moment. It's gonna happen. There's no question about it. I'm freaking out.
Yeah, I just was like, why'd they give up there? They just literally just lost their minds at that one point. I was like, you know, you could just look at another place, like keep looking. I don't know.
I'm claustrophobic, and I kind of have an idea of how buildings are built to an extent. Like, what's that movie, Prince of Darkness, where they went through the wall? I would find a hole somewhere where I could sit in, and I would just start digging through the wall. I would just find a hole, like somewhere, like a closet that's like on the outside of the perimeter, and I just start digging through the wall.
But my thing, like, even if you have a plan, my thing is that like people are fucking crazy, and like there were so many people packed into this theater. Like you could have a plan to do for yourself, and other bitches get in your way, and then like it's gonna be war.
That's why
I'm
you
gonna
break
freak
off
out.
by yourself. I'm not dealing with other people's hysterics. Like I have no, and in this case, I can't off myself and just be done with it because I'm gonna get resurrected into this demon dude. So like fuck that. I'm gonna try. This is the only scenario where I am going to try to fight because otherwise, if I can just one and done, I'm going. Like I don't fucking care enough to live through something traumatic. But if I'm gonna be some weird fucking possessed like zombie or fucking demon dude, like fuck yeah, I'm gonna be in the closet like a rat digging through the wall.
Yeah, because
if you're trapped, I mean, no extra zombies can get in. I mean, you can't get out.
But
Get a finite number of zombies you have to kill.
that
But
brings me
they
though
were
to the
not
next thing.
containing the situation. So
No, that brings me to the next thing. That group of like cocaine people who were outside, like leather cocaine people. I thought, you know, when I was first watching it, I was like, this is so random for them to be a part of it. Although I really did get a kick out of the scene, and you guys can judge me for it or whatever, where they spilled the cocaine everywhere. It just feels so gratuitous, and why not slap it on there? They spilled the cocaine everywhere, and the guy is like using a razor blade to scrape the cocaine off her titties. Like, I was like, okay.
I knew that's where you were going. I knew it.
I was like, you know what? I'm here for it. But you guys didn't laugh at the fact that they were passing around the Coke in a Coke can.
I did.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, all right, let's snort some cocaine out of a Coke can because why not? We're hoodlums.
It's like, okay, product placement. Coke is like Coca-Cola.
I feel like that the only device for that besides like hot cocaine titties is like to show that it was the building that was haunted and there was like nothing anybody could do to stop the like scourge from escaping. You know, it was contained and then all of a sudden it wasn't. I liked it.
I liked
it. Yeah. The whole motorcycle scene with the sword. That was awesome.
Yeah.
It was so over the top, but it was so fun.
Yeah, I kept asking, what's his objective? But then I realized his objective is just to be sorting zombies. Duh, Nell. I was like, oh, okay.
You need. That is all you need.
Literally, it's on my list of things I need. I don't know, so good. I haven't seen Demons 2 yet. It's on the list of other movies to watch because it very clearly sets up for a sequel. I feel like they could have just not done that and just like left us to wonder forever. But if Demons 2 is good, then I'll retract that statement. Four chuds.
I gave it 3.
I gave it 3. Yeah, 3.
Four chuds. I'm not out
3.
to change anybody's mind.
Well, 3 shows was my ceiling with this one, and I didn't have a bad time. They
It
just
was
like
fun.
when I look at the stuff I gave 4 to 4.5, like Noroi, I think was 4.5. Tetsuo, which is like one of my all-time favorite films, I maybe give a 5. So
I said I gave it a whole chud for cocaine titties, so I don't I stand by my ratings. I do.
I stand by your rating too. I'm like hoarse from laughing raucously about the Jesse Eisenberg thing.
It
So
just be like that sometimes. Mel was there when we did Intruder, and I was like Ted Raimi, and you were like, and now you're like, wait.
yeah,
It just
Ted
be like
Raimi's daddy. I can't help it.
that.
So we have discovered the real infectious strain of horror movies is
That.
Nerdy
Fine.
boys.
wimpy guy
Yeah, it's true.
with
Oblivious.
patchy chest
Yeah.
hair. Or more than normal chest hair. Something about the chest hair you guys like. Either none, patchy, or
I was
just
gonna say
Wolverine.
bald. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No in between, just the 3 flavors.
right.
This is
The
gone
3
somewhere I
genders.
didn't expect.
My
So,
bad.
if you want to listen to other episodes where, where this happens, or, episodes where it doesn't happen, we bring it all. And you can find this podcast on the interwebs at ghostinthemagazine.site or on Twitter at GITM Podcast. You can find me on Twitter at WitchEggsPudding.
You can find me at Nocturnical.
You can find me at Hedda_Mel.
And you can find me at Maybe Mockingbird, MAYB Mockingbird.
Okay, bye.